Hey everybody, here's your Friday video so that I can get some face-to-face, and like I said, some of you are auditory learners. So I just wanted to check in with you. I've got my agenda. I'm going to try to keep this under 15 minutes because why? So first of all, poetry. You should have turned in your poetry articles by now for Caucus 2 and Caucus 3. If you're struggling with that, you please need to tell me that you are struggling with that. If I'm going to grade those today, and if yours is missing, you're going to get a message from me because I don't want you to fall behind. It's too easy in this sort of e-learning, learn at home kind of atmosphere to get lost. The same goes for the article on why rereading a book. If you haven't turned that in, that's due today. You need to get that done and get that into me because I'm going to be grading that this weekend. There is like a list that the teachers all have that goes to administration if students aren't engaging in the platform, if they are getting behind, if they aren't doing their work, your name goes on a list and then somebody's going to call you and contact you. So we are for serious here. We are trying to move forward. We do want to graduate, in May and not go to just kind of summer school. So you need to stay on top of things. And like I said, it's too easy to get behind and lost in this virtual world. So we're going to be a little more annoying about your assignments than normal, just because we don't have that daily face-to-face. Okay, so your poetry and your articles, those things need to come into me, and they need to come into me soon. Let's talk about next week. So next week we have a meeting. If you need to know what that looks like, that is on the calendar. If you are reading Of Mice and Men, then your meeting next week is on the 25th. If your last name is A through M, you're meeting at 10 o'clock. If your last name is N through Z, you are meeting at 11:30. Now there's a little bit of flip-flop back and forth. If you really can't make 10 o'clock, but your name is Adams, I'm fine with that. That's okay. I should probably share my screen with you. Hold on, so you can see what I'm saying and not just see my face. All right, so here's the calendar. Get this out of the way. Here's the calendar. So 25th, next week for Of Mice and Men. The 26th for Lord of the Flies, same deal. If you have an A last name to an M last name, then those are your dates. Just let me know. We're going to discuss, for Lord of the Flies, we're going to discuss the first 5 chapters. For Of Mice and Men, it's about the first 64 pages. Of Mice and Men doesn't really have designated chapters. I hope that you're getting through that. Make sure that you are working as you go along. If you can't attend one of those meetings because you're doing something, you just like school, you need to send me an excuse. Like, I need to know through email. If you don't show up, you're getting a 0. But if you can't show up for some kind of reason, you need to let me know why, and we're going to make alternative arrangements for you. But I can't know unless you tell me. So let me know. Otherwise, you get a grade for showing up and having a conversation. You get a 0 for not showing up. Okay? Just like Socratic Circle kind of rules, but a little more informal because we are in this virtual sort of online platform. All right, that leads me to tech issues. If you are having technology issues, your internet is not good, your laptop is crapped out on you, like whatever it is, you need to let me know so that I can tell Mr. Baker so that we can get you the technology that you need. We are doing everything we can to make sure that you have all the tools that you need to have, but if you don't tell us, there's no way for us to help you. So you have to tell us, communicate with us. That's a literature standard, speaking, listening, viewing. Like, you have to be able to communicate. All right, so check. Personal issues. Now, school is a place to learn academic information, but sometimes we take the place of social work and counseling and that kind of thing. If you are going through a tough time right now, there's a lot of anxiety in the world. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world. It is overwhelming for adults. I can't believe what it's like for y'all. And there's some things to be sort of sad and upset about. But if you're having those moments, again, you need to reach out to me or to another trusted adult. Anything you say is always confidential. I might refer you to a counselor or to administration or wherever, but we can help you get the help that you need, even if you just need to talk to somebody. Like, I understand being trapped in a house with your family. Trust me, I understand. I understand. But again, if you're having those problems, you're having those issues, just reach out to somebody, even if it's just to talk to another person you're not related to for 5 minutes. That's not a problem. Don't hesitate to text me or ask me to jump on Zoom or whatever, I am, available most days, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. pretty easily. After that, it gets a little dicey. But again, just text me and ask. If you want to have a conversation through Remind, have a conversation through Remind. But I'm here for all of those things. So non-engagement, talk to you about that. If you're not doing your work, you go on a special list. Don't get on that list. Now let's talk about dialectical journals, because that's the questions I've been getting. That's the question I've been getting the most is, Miss Sumerlin, what is a dialectical journal? How do I get this organized? Oh my God, the formatting is obnoxious. Yes, I understand. And because we are being supportive and adaptive in this new online pandemic environment, I'm going to show you a different way to do that that is just as acceptable for me as any other way. So I'm going to start by opening up. I'm going to use Heart of Darkness, because why not? I don't want to use Of Mice and Men or Lord of the Flies because I don't want to steal anything from you. I'm going to use Heart of Darkness because I love Heart of Darkness. I went to this quote right here that's not just the horror, but just before that, because that's the quote that I want. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to open up my my Google Doc. So I'm going to call this Dialectical Journal alt format. You call it your title, okay? You're going to start with your name. You're going to start with your class. We're in 408. You can put my name on there, and then the date that this is due. That's going to be April 2nd, 2020. Then you're going to call it a title, Dialectical Journal for Heart of Darkness. You are obviously not doing Heart of Darkness, but you get my point. So I'm gonna fix the font and stuff first. Times New Roman, because we got to make this MLA. The one thing about this that's not MLA is it's not double spaced. You don't have to double space it. It's totally fine. I'm giving you permission to not double space at this point. I'm going to drag my video up here so I'm not looking at video and looking more at the camera. Okay, so you can use columns. Columns is a way to do this, but it does get really frustrating and annoying if you're doing it as you go. So my suggestion is to insert a table. I love tables. Tables make everything so much better. If you really don't like the way that looks, if you're like, oh my God, these table lines are ugly, then you can just get rid of them. All you got to do is right click on them and oops. Uh-oh, I don't know where my table stuff went. Table properties. Okay, so all you have to do is get rid of the table border, just make it white, boom, it's gone. That can be a little frustrating because now you can't see it. So if you want to do that at the very end, do that at the very end. In Microsoft, you can just make the borders go away and it leaves you an outline, so that's fine. So really what you want to do is you want to start with your first quote. The quote goes on the on this side here. I need to put a citation. I'm going to put, Conrad 78. I don't actually know what page that is, but I think it's around there. Okay, period. Okay, so I've got my quote here. I've got my, if you want to put like you want to insert a row above to be like quote analysis, that's totally fine. Over here is where I'm going to start my analysis. So we've got this quote here from Art of Darkness right before Kurtz dies when he tells us the horror. And you've got Marlowe looking over him saying, anything approaching the change that came over his features I have never seen before and I hope never to see again. Well, I wasn't touched. I was fascinated. It was though a veil had been rent. I saw on that ivory face the expression of somber pride, of ruthless power, of craven terror, of an intense and hopeless despair. Did he live his life again in every detail of desire, temptation, and surrender during that supreme moment of complete knowledge? He cried in a whisper at some image, at some vision. He cried out twice, a cry that was no more than a breath. The horror, the horror. Of course, absolutely great. So, but what I'm going to start with here is this idea of sort of placing this quote. So in this quote, ooh, caps lock is on. In this quote, Kurtz is dying and seems to be in some type of distress. Marlowe considers that maybe Kurtz is reliving all of his horrible life and mistakes. Okay, so there's a little bit of placement there, just like a sentence or so to give us like, oh, this is where this is in the book. And now I'm going to start to get to that analysis. So give yourself a sentence or two to like summarize or whatever, but then move into the analysis here. So Marlowe, as always, is an observer in this situation. He comments on the flickering expressions on Kurtz's face. With a sort of clinical attitude. Marlowe is so emotionally drained by the horrors he has witnessed that he has nothing left to give Kurtz in the way of pity or sympathy. Instead, he watches the dying process with a detached curiosity. He discusses the idea of a veil being rent. A veil being rent. Let's fix that. Which is an allusion to a biblical story of a Jewish temple. Typically, the sacrament was kept behind a veil, so no one could like profane it, like dirty it, sully it with their eyes, because oh, I should spell that right. So it's like this idea of like you're not seeing the mystery. Here, here Marlowe is seeing through that mysterious curtain and into death, which is the great unknown. All right, so that's going to be a lot of what you're looking at here. And if you're wondering how many words that is, because I honestly don't know, you can always go to tools, word count. So that's about 788. So that's about what you need to do. I might throw in another sentence or so, and it's there, and then you move on to the next quote. But that's pretty much the process. The one sentence I might add here is a good thing to go. Originally, I read this text as a senior in AP Lit. Typing is bad today. And had no idea about the significance of this moment. I knew nothing about biblical allusions and did not understand where Marlowe's like coldness is coming from. Now, as an older person who has been through a lot of emotional turmoil. I completely understand the idea of being emotionally burned or emotionally like fatigued. See, there, now you're done. So you have a little bit of, here you have a little bit of placement, then you have analysis, then you have a commentary on the rest of this text. So I'm gonna highlight that. You know, this is summary to help you place, to summary to anchor yourself in your quote in the text. Then you have this whole part right here, which is your analysis. Then you have this part down here, which is, I'm just going to say like your old versus new mentality. All right. So I hope that that clears up a lot of things. I'm going to put this, obviously I'm going to put this onto Google Classroom so that it's available for you. Don't forget your header needs to be up here. I'm just going to do the header correctly because you can figure that out. I'm not going to waste time on that. I'm going to make it the right font because I'm going to make this available for you to just type on directly if you just want to use this, but just make sure you do what you need to do. It's going to be a pretty long document. It's a pretty lengthy document, but just do it as you go because that's the easiest way to do. So I think Lord of the Flies has 12 chapters. Pick 1 or 2 quotes a chapter. I think that Of Mice and Men has somewhere around 10. So you're looking at 2 quotes a chapter. Obviously, that's just a suggestion. If you want 3 from one chapter and 1 from another, you can do that. Well, I hope this was a little bit helpful. You really want to pick quotes that are like important or quotes that you can talk about, but you're looking at about 20. You can get there. There's plenty of stuff to talk there. It is going to be run through a plagiarism checker, so just fair warning, plagiarism checker is going to be a thing. All right. All right, so if you need anything else from me, my office hours are beginning in a minute. So by the time you see this video and you watch this video, I will already be available online to talk to you. I do encourage you to stop in and talk to me so that we can make sure that your technology works before next week's meeting, and so that I can see your face and you can ask me any questions and you can talk to an adult that you're not related to. All right, see you later.